about the Fightins here. The Fightins.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's gone! It is gone! It is bedlam at the bank!
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Podcast right here. You already know. Go fucking subscribe. Go follow.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Phillies postgame show with Eric, Brendan, Dalt, and Ballpark Tommy. Proudly powered by TickPick. Check out the link in the bio for $10 off your first order today. Let's take it to the show.
Despicable, horrible. Anytime you lose to the New York Mutts, the New York Mets.
Over.
It sucks. Yeah, season's over, like Chris said. Forget all the Red October talk this morning. Me and Chris's positive takes on Sippin' Sports. I mean, Jesus, man, a real let up tonight, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch too much of it. I was watching Penn State game most of the time, but yeah, they lost this one. Like they're not gonna beat the shit out of them like they do every single night. Like it's just, Schwarber started off good, and I'd say Ranger was okay. I mean, 5 innings probably isn't enough out of him. But, Kerkering had his worst outing, and I think they said he hadn't given up a run in like a month. So it might have been longer than that. So, these things just happen, right? Like, just not press the panic button yet, even though I'm the one who immediately hits the panic button every single time. Go win tomorrow, win the NL East, and try to get that bye. But I just figured out that there's 2 buys. I only thought there was 1 buy this whole time. No, there's 2 buys. So that number 1 seed really don't mean shit besides home field advantage, which obviously you want, but that buy is more important to me than anything.
Yeah, getting that rest is going to be humongous for these guys because, like you said, you can't do it forever. Kyle Schwarber this season with the leadoff home run, speaking of today, has been absolutely historic. Fun to watch as a fan, fun to see. I'm sure even as some opposing fans, not Mets fans, suck at JJ. But in all seriousness, no. This guy really has been historic all year. I was actually in the kitchen starting dinner, and I heard it, and they said, Kyle Schwarber, another leadoff home run. And I went nuts. I was like, oh, my God, like the Phillies are off to a good start. And I really thought momentum was going to be in their favor. I know Fratty said it on the postgame show a couple nights ago as well, that he really thought for the Phillies that today would be the day that they would have clinched, not last night. So I think that they're kind of under this mindset now of, okay, we're in, we're good. And like Chris said, they don't need to spend all their energy on getting that first seed. Try, don't not try. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But if they don't get it, it's not the end of the world. They need that first round bye, that rest with this team. But golly, I mean, just to highlight for a second, Kyle Schwarber and what he's done, coming back from that injury, the dude has really lit it up. And he's kind of been that guy, that spark that we've needed when Bryce has kind of not been there. So I really hope that all of these guys will start to follow his lead and kick on as we get into October here. I mean, it's going to be more important now than ever, but I'm glad to see that he's asserting his dominance off the first pitch.
This may be Kyle Schwarber's best year in the majors, period. I mean, it's definitely his best as a Philly. I know he doesn't have the amount of home runs he's had in the past, but that batting average at 250, he's driving in runs at an alarming pace. I mean, yeah, last year he hit 47 home runs. The year before he hit 46. But that batting average being, 50 points higher is significant. And I think he's just been a better baseball player this year. And him being in that DH spot full time has really helped him out. And he's probably the best leadoff hitter in all of baseball, which it sounds weird to say with how many home runs he hits, but, it's starting to work. And I think I'm starting to get used to it and not getting as pissed off as him being a leadoff hitter anymore because it's working.
It is working. He's definitely found a groove this year with leadoff home runs. There's no denying that with an MLB record that he still seems to be adding to. So
by
shout
2.
out to
He's got
Kyle
the record by
Schwarber.
2 now.
So what is he up to? Is it 15 now?
It's 15. Alfonso Soriano in 2003 had 13. So he's got the record by a few homers now, and season's not over yet. He could hit 1 or 2 more. So we'll see how that goes. But again, and anytime you beat out Alfonso Soriano in early 2000s in anything, it's pretty good.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Well, transitioning now next to our topic. Overall, a lot of people saying Ranger Suraez had a solid day, pretty good. But there were a couple mistakes, especially the walks, all 3 to Alonso. Other than that, though, I mean, a pretty solid day. How were you feeling about Rangers' performance, Chris?
I mean, I feel like he's kind of like coasting a little bit in the playoffs, like a lot of the players, which I can get. The walks are a little concerning because he doesn't really walk guys, and the home runs are a little concerning. It seems like it's been the whole pitching staff for the last few days, like just walking guys, giving up homers. It's unlike them. And, maybe it's just they're getting towards the end of the season. Ranger Suraez has pitched how many innings now? Let's see. He's had 150 innings now. Like, that's a solid amount for Ranger Suraez. So, again, not too worried yet. They're in New York, so you're not going to win every single game in New York. They still have – their fans are assholes, but they're good fans. So it's not going to be easy whenever you go in there. And, they obviously don't want us to celebrate on their own field winning the NL East, and they're going to try to do everything possible for us to not do that. And they're also fighting for a playoff spot as well. So they're probably playing for more than the Phillies are right now. Because the Phillies, I highly, highly, highly doubt that they're going to, lose out and not win the division. I think that they literally have to win 1 game. That's it. But there's been stranger things to happen in Philadelphia.
Oh, shit. Hey, you're not wrong, man. I mean, anytime that this team has expectations, that's where things start to go south. I'll say this. I was thinking about it today while I was watching the game, and overall, Ranger Suraez looks solid. Like I said, besides those 3 walks to Alonso. But when you think about how Ranger kind of came back from that Mets series in London, he was phenomenal. Arguably the best in the MLB until then. Top 3 for sure. Definitely in the NL. Arguably the best in the NL, pitching-wise. Cy Young favorite leader. And then after that London series, he just fell off. Then there was the injury. And I felt like today, for the most part, Ranger looked pretty in control. And even though that was a loss, I felt like for Ranger Suraez, there were things that he could take away from that game that were wins. Overall, like I said, not his best performance, but still some positives to take away in a time that, he's kind of going through a rough patch.
Listen, you give up 2 runs in a game. I don't like you give up 2 runs in a game, you still win the game. So he wasn't awful in the game. He wasn't great either, but it was really like that poor inning by Guy Kirkering is what lost him the game, which was rare for him too. He hadn't given up a run in forever, and he just, had a bad outing. It happens sometimes. I'd rather these guys have the bad outing now than in, 2 weeks from now when they're in the playoffs. And, it's crazy. Kirkering had a terrible performance today, but his ERA is still at 2.35. And Kirkering is only 23 years old. Everybody wanted, what's his name? Mason Miller? Yeah, that's the guy. Everybody wanted him from Oakland. And Kirkering's been a better pitcher than him all year. But people like Miller, because he throws 103 miles an hour. Who fucking cares? Kirkering's a better pitcher. So, yeah, maybe Kirkering got left in there a little bit too long. I think after he gave up that first base hit there, it scored a run, I maybe would have pulled him. But you can't really complain too much because he's been so good. He's been so reliable. And again, it was a bad inning, but 3 runs isn't the end of the world. Like, kind of is what it is. They lost 6-3. It's not like they got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, I think that, like I said earlier, there were still some positives that everybody on the team can take away, but also some negatives. That's why I'm really interested to see how the entire team adjusts for tomorrow, which will actually be our last topic here. But yeah, Orion he had overall some good plays, but it's like, yeah, he lost the game for the Phils. Overall, though, how are you feeling about Philly Rob's decision making with the team, with the pitching, everything?
The only thing that's really strange to me is just, playing Wilson and Sosa as much as he has. Now, they've been pretty good, but like, you got Brandon Marsh for a reason. You got Bryson Stott for a reason. Like, these guys kind of got to figure it out. Like, I don't think Wilson and Sosa are going to play well in the playoffs. They just seem like guys who will not play well in the playoffs. We have seen Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh show up in the playoffs. So it's almost like, can we let them, try to get a roll going before the playoffs start here? It's almost a chance here to like get it going a little bit before you have to fully turn on everything. But again, 4 hits today by the offense, not good. So I can't really blame Philly Rob for too much today, even though I'm the first one to blame him. The only thing I can say is, Weston Wilson made a really bad play out there in left field that probably lost him the game. Does Marsh get to that ball? Maybe. I don't know. But Wilson's not an everyday left fielder, but kind of is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, what really killed the Phillies, too, was that double I think that Alvarez had in between Rojas and Wilson that gave them the lead 5-2. That really just sucked the wind out of the whole team. So I'll say this. Philly Rob has done things with this team that nobody could have ever imagined. So for the most part, I really don't question his decision making because the Phillies have consistently ended in a good place the past couple of years. Now, with that being said, they need to minimum end up in the NLCS this year. If they don't end up in the NLCS, I think that he's going to be on the hot seat.
It's got to be. It's got to be this. They got to end.
Let's go.
Where is it?
Let's go.
In the World Series. It's got to be a World Series championship. Not
you
just
think?
making it. They need to win it. I think it's they've had the lead up. They went to the World Series 2 years ago. Went to the NLCS last year. It's time. They've gelled as a team. They have the pitching. They have the hitting. They are a good enough team to win the World Series. You just need to put it together and do it. And I don't know. I'm still not sure because it's still a Philadelphia team, and it almost does worry me how good they've been in the regular season. It's not going to happen, and they're going to let us down. But we'll see here in a couple of weeks. I think their bullpen is much better than it has been the last 2 years. Because you've had guys like Kerkering this year break out. You've had Hoffman break out. Strom has been excellent. Like, you've just had some really, really good pitching down the stretch here. And hopefully it helps them and they can win that World Series. But I don't know. I'm not a future teller. I know that shit for sure. How many times I get shit wrong.
Yeah. I think you put everything perfectly. And wrapping up now with our last topic. What's next for the Phillies? So tomorrow night, obviously everybody knows the Phillies play at 7:15 against the Mets. But going off of that, like Chris just said, they need to get all these decisions ironed out. Philly Rob needs to get his decisions ironed out. Pitching wise, they need to figure out what they have because they can't have these let ups in those games. You need to be able to win 3 games in a row consistently. Then that 4th game, whatever happens, because most games in the playoffs, you got to win 4 games. But I am a little bit nervous, but I like what you've said and what everybody said. I know Ballpark said it too. Just give the Phillies that bye. If you give them a bye, I think some time to also see what other teams are doing, that's only going to play to their advantage. And the fact that 2 teams now get a bye in the NL is a real advantage too.
Yeah, I mean, what's next for the Phils? Win that division. Hopefully it's tomorrow, right? You don't want this dragging on too long. You want to, kind of get that stress off you of winning that division, getting a little taste of the champagne. Yeah, they had that little toast yesterday, but Stubby's going to get out the playlist tomorrow if they win, and that's going to give them a taste there, and hopefully it propels them a little bit, and you can see them, maybe, I don't know how many more games. Maybe they can get to 96, 97 wins and get that first seed. We'll see. Again, the first seed isn't as big of a deal to me as, just getting that number 2 seed, which is a bye. And I think they're pretty well over the Brewers at this point. The Brewers are losing again. So I think that bye is probably the key to anything right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. That bye is going to make or break these Phillies. I think if they have to go through,
well, the way I look at it
they
too,
lose in the NLCS.
The way I look at it too, if they somehow, they're the number 1 team in the league right now. They have the best record in baseball. If they somehow over these next 8 games fall apart and wind up as that 3rd or 4th seed, it's not a good look at all, and it does not help your confidence whatsoever. So to stay hot and make that 1 or 2 seed, I think that's probably the best thing for the team. Because that is worrisome if they, fall apart there and have to play, then you're reeling and you're tired because you just got beat down, and now you got to go play in the wild card series. It's just not a great look for any team, especially the Phillies. So we'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. Hopefully these guys have it together. Stay tuned, guys. If you guys aren't, drop a subscription, drop a like, drop a follow on the video. All those little things really, really help us. But we will be here. Somebody will be here tomorrow night, probably around 10 o'clock-ish, post-game, breaking down, hopefully, that win. And like Chris
hopefully
said,
we'll be drinking.
That taste.
Buzzkill today.
Yeah, Buzzkill today. We're still drinking, though. We're still drinking. Salud.
Drinking away the pain.
Thank you guys very much, everybody who tuned in. Dennis, Ryan, I see you guys in the comments. Really appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you guys aren't, drop a subscription, drop a like. All those little things really help. Also, please be sure to give Chaos Chris a follow on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. You got anything else, Chris, before we hop out of here?
Let's go Birds tomorrow.
Let's go Birds tomorrow. Well said, man. Take care, guys.
The Fightins.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's gone! And it's gone! It is bedlam at the bank!
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Can't hear you. Podcast.